This episode of the Only Kings podcast is brought to you by OrganicPricedBooks.com. Guys, there hasn't been a better time to start comic collecting, let alone get into the omnibus game. They have a wide and growing selection of books shipping now, as well as highly anticipated pre-orders, such as The Amazing Spider-Man Volume 5 Omnibus, priced at $125, discounted to $80. Enter my promo code KING at checkout for an extra discount. Again, enter promo code KING for an extra discount on top of the 36 to 40% they are already offering. OrganicPricedBooks.com, promo code KING. Now back to the show. Thank you for being here. This is so much fun. When was the last time we saw each other?
Dude, I don't know. It's been a minute.
It's definitely before the pandemic. I feel like it was when we went to Craft Republic.
No, because after that, didn't we go to Sonic at one point, or was that before we could drink?
That was before we could drink.
I think so, too. I think, yeah. Craft Republic.
It was
that
Craft Republic.
Right.
Holy
Shit,
fuck.
It's been a minute. Was that like a year?
That was like 3 years ago. 2 years ago. Well, no, because I'm 23 now. So 2 years ago, probably. I was just 21.
Probably.
Yeah. That's
Dude,
fucking crazy.
I know. I know.
So I know you were related to me on this. Like post-COVID. Dude, I miss concerts.
Dude! Oh! I had so many concerts lined up. Have you heard of the Hella Mega Tour with Fall Out
with
Boy,
Green
Weezer,
Day.
Green Day?
Yeah.
Fuck,
Yeah.
man.
That was supposed to be last year, right?
Yeah, luckily it's postponed, but like...
Can you see when that's coming back up? It's the Green Day Hella Mega Tour. Yeah, absolutely 2003. But
dude,
that would have been so cool because I finally saw
know.
Green Day. They're on that same tour that you saw them in Arizona with Catfish and the Bottlemen.
yes,
That shit
I love
fucking
that band.
rocked.
Yeah,
That shit was awesome.
I actually had the opportunity.
There's no way. What?
No,
way.
no, we can't miss.
The Hella Mega Tour starts in 2021. Will be on Saturday the 13th of this month.
That can't be.
There's no way.
No
It
way.
had to have gotten pushed back. Huh? Yeah, look at the dates. There is no way.
That's gotta be off.
Maybe like internationally?
Maybe.
Because I know like Europe is kind of open for concerts right now.
Oh yeah. You see London.
Okay, well, there's like California and Jacksonville and...
Oh my god.
Is there anything for Albuquerque or no?
No, the closest would be...
Oh, probably not.
That's depressing.
Yeah, because I was gonna go when they were in Jacksonville, when it was gonna happen.
Well, they are going to have it now in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
On the 31st. Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I feel
gotta
like,
get on that.
Well, that's why I figured I think everything was going to open back up in Florida, or like all the events were going to be held there because that's where they did the Super Bowl, right? The Super Bowl's in Florida.
Oh yeah.
Whatever the big WWE thing is, they're having that in Florida, and then they just had the Republican jerk-off session, right, down in Florida, the CPAC, whatever it was called. Right, that's basically what it was. Let's be honest. Like they all showed up in their big convention centers and were like, "Oh, damn those liberals."
Oh shoot.
And then did you see what Ted Cruz said when he walked on stage?
No.
And he was like, "Jacksonville's great, not as good as Cancun," and nobody laughed because they're like, "Yeah, you're a fucking jackass." You heard about that, right? How he fucked
No.
off. Okay, so
Not at all.
so Texas got hit by that storm, right?
Yeah.
And so they get hit by the storm, and he gets caught flying.
That's right.
Flying
yeah.
to Cancun, and then they bully him into coming back. They bullied this poor guy, and they're like, "Hey, you have to come back."
Yeah.
And then that pussy came back. Like, is it Velcro holding?
No, yeah, we're good.
Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah, so they bullied him to come back. And yeah, he tried to make a joke about it, and just nobody laughed at him. I know, this is our joke, not yours, you fucking moron. So you teach here. And
I do, yes.
So how long have you been teaching for?
This is my first year.
Awesome.
First year I graduated May 2020. So didn't get to walk. Hopefully I'll get to, because I don't know. I did a lot of shit in college. I had a lot of things going around my neck because of like, chords and stuff, because I just was so involved. And man, I just really want to walk across that stage. But yeah, so graduated May 2020, started applying for jobs, and like man, the Lord just had a plan for me, and now I'm working at my old high school.
That's so
So
funny.
yeah, I'm a 9th grade English teacher at El Dorado High School, and I coach volleyball.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool. And then actually, I was also hired for the ELD position, which is the English Language Development
Okay.
position. So basically, I will start that this upcoming fall, and I'm going to be teaching students who speak another language, and English is their second language.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, so I'm going to be starting that in the fall.
Okay. That's awesome. So
Yeah.
and then you went to college down in Portales, right? The ENMU
Yeah.
main campus, right?
Yeah, Eastern New Mexico University Greyhounds.
Okay,
Heck yeah.
So you were coaching there too, right? Didn't you coach track and field?
I did. I also coached cross country too.
That's what's up.
So let's see. My first year, I was working as an assistant head coach. What the hell? Words, Kincheloe. An assistant distance coach, and then an assistant cross country coach, and then the next year I was the head distance coach.
Oh shit.
At 21, and so I had about 15 girls and boys that like I was in charge of just them. Like it was all my workouts, everything
That's what's up.
was under my control. So yeah, it was
So
nuts.
so at that collegiate level, what's the training like for like what would you put somebody on to get them to train properly?
Okay, I was coaching high schoolers, not college students.
Okay.
Because I was gonna run collegiately, but I had foot surgery.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Which, like, good thing, because if I was running college, I wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to coach and learned that, like, damn, that's one huge passion of mine. Okay, so what's
Well,
your
it's like what
question
was
then?
like your training regimen for the athletes? Like how would you condition them? Like what kind of workouts were you doing? Was it only running? Did you do like any like strength with it as well?
I see your
or-
question.
Yeah.
Kind of distance training, there's kind of like a standard basis to it. We want to like get that endurance going. Obviously, at the beginning of the year, we're kind of building up. I was not expecting this question.
So like, cause like my only real experience with athletic training is through weight training.
Okay,
Like
okay.
that's what I fell in love with. Was I fucking hate cardio.
Yeah.
But weightlifting is what I got into.
Yeah. So with our weightlifting, we would do like focusing on slow twitch muscle. So we're not trying to bulk, because when you
Right.
bulk, then that's kind of more centered and focused towards sprinters.
Mm-hmm.
And so with the distance runners, we're doing less weight, more reps. Always focusing on core, because your core, like, it's crazy how much that supports you through running, and like distance running especially. You have to hold yourself up for a mile, 2 miles, 3.4 miles or something. Like, you know, you've
Right.
got to really be able to hold yourself up. So core workouts were always like a pretty major focus, also like upper body. But yeah, we do a lot of like distance runs. We get mileage in, because again, we're trying to build up that endurance. We'd have interval workout where we would like run about 3 to 4 miles on the track, but in different intervals. So we might
Right.
do like 4 600s at a 70% pace. So yeah, it's kind of standard. And then we'd like peak in our season, and then once we kind of got around district, we'd start tapering off, because there's this workout theory that, you know, you've got to build muscle, you've got to rest some, but then there's a point in your workout, in your training, that when you peak, then you kind of want to actually start tapering off, making your workouts kind of less intensive, but you'll still be pretty much dropping time.
Right.
So
Well, right, because
Yeah.
you're letting your body recover. 'Cause you
Yeah.
can't go at 100% all the time.
yeah.
Because you're just going to break down the body. So whenever you guys are like, when they be competing, what are the different like categories that they could be competing in as far as like distance running goes? Or is it
Okay,
all just
so-
one standard, like you're going to run like,
No, it's pretty, let's see, individual, pretty versatile. So we've got like, sprinting is about 400 and less. So 400 meter.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Oh, my fucking watch. Stop talking to me.
dude, that
What
shit,
is this?
that shit is Skynet, I'm telling
I don't
you.
want to turn it off.
Who was I having that conversation? Oh, with Joey,
Power off.
right? Remember Joey had that, what's it called? Our buddy Joey, he has this, it's not a Fitbit. Remember what it was called? like the Whoop or whatever.
It's like a sleep tracker. And
Yeah, so like it's this thing you charge up and it lasts for 4 days.
Okay.
And it monitors like your sleep patterns, your heart rate, your blood pressure. It tells you like how to properly like nutrition yourself. It like logs workouts, like all this crazy shit. And I was like, dude, that's the Chinese government like keeping all your shit.
Yeah.
Like that is fucking Skynet. Oh my god.
Yeah. See, okay, the reason why I got one was like mainly for like working out.
Well,
and
that's
stuff.
an Apple Watch, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then also because, like, well, I like running. I love going out on runs. And, like, to carry your phone and listen to music on, like, a 3-mile, 5-mile run for, like, God, that's just awful. But then also, so, like, I can listen to my music and not have anything in my hand. But I also got the cellular version. So, because, you know, I'm, like, a 100-pound woman just running around. I want to
Right.
make sure like I can call the police or call my parents if like something happens.
Right.
So that's why I got that watch. It was mainly to be safe when I am working out and like running around the town.
So you can put music on that?
Yeah, because again, I got like the cellular. So, but it's kind of
so you're
like a
streaming-
teeny tiny phone.
So you're just streaming like Spotify and you can link like your AirPods to it?
Yeah, because like basically like if you don't have the cellular version, you need Wi-Fi or you need it to
Right.
connect to your phone. But I got the cellular one, so again, it's kind of like a teeny tiny phone on my wrist. So like it uses data to stream Spotify. And then again, like I can call the police or my parents if like someone's following me or something happens.
See, because I get bugged. Like, every time I go over to my chick's house, her sister's like, you need to buy an Apple Watch. Apple Watches are the greatest. And all I see is them and their family just fucking with it. Like, doing that, telling you to shut up. Mm-hmm. That kind of just sold me.
I know.
I'm not going to lie. That's badass.
Yeah, and see, like, I have friends who have it that they always, like, check the messages, and I'm like, pay attention to me. Like, I feel like people are on their phone more on their wrist. And, like, every time they get a ding, they're like, what? No. But, like,
Pay attention to me.
honestly. So I took off all those notifications.
Nice.
So, yeah, basically, I kind of, like, you know, made it purposeful to me because I don't want to be on my phone. I don't want to be like, oh, we're having a conversation and I'm like, oh, and take it.
No, right. No, I
Yeah.
totally feel you.
So yeah, so I can get messages on it, but I have the like sound notifications off. That apparently was Siri talking to me.
Because they listen.
What the fuck? Yeah.
That shit's scary. No, that's how I have my phone too. Like, with the exception of like standard text messages and then Discord. That's how I talk
Yeah.
to my producer for this. Like, we mostly just use Discord. Like, any other app that I have, the notifications are turned off.
Yeah.
Because like if these people need to get a hold of me, they have my cell phone number.
Yeah.
Like they will call me, they will text me, but
Yeah.
if you have to get a hold of me, but you only have my Facebook or my Snapchat or my Instagram, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, you'll be fine. I
Yeah.
promise you'll be fine.
The one like notification I do have on it, I have this motivation app and this I am app, which is like an affirmation one. So like I think 4 times out of the day I get a little motivational quote or a little affirmation. I'm all about mental health, man. So like
That's awesome. No, that's cool. I'm not laughing at you. It's like that's just funny. Like that's cool.
positivity, man. Extreme positivity. That's what I'm all about.
No, it's awesome. I mean, that's important now because like everything just tanked last year. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we were just talking about that upstairs, like when the quarantines happened and we were just locked up in our houses and like, hey, you're going to have to stay home for the unforeseeable future. And then now all we have is social media, right? So we're just seeing, like, for whatever reason, people were just like stealing all the toilet paper everywhere because it's a respiratory virus. So we're going to have to shit our pants, apparently. That still doesn't sit right with me. So we were stealing toilet paper, and then it was all of the protests about the masks, and then it was the George Floyd riots, and it's just this one thing after another, and I was finally just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Fuck it, we're done. Like,
Yeah.
I'm done with social media.
I definitely had to go off of it during that time because I hit actually a really, really bad depression. Like
Yeah.
March, April, and May. Because, you know, I'm in my last semester of college. Like, I'm about to graduate. I'm student teaching. I'm working with my athletes, my students. And I don't get to go back after spring break.
And it all got stripped away.
It
No, it's
fucking
bullshit.
broke me. It was hard. And like, I mean, I was coaching down there for 3 years. So it's not like I was just working with these students for a semester. I had athletes that like, some of them were juniors and seniors that I've seen like grow and develop for 3 years. I'm excited for them to qualify for state and now their season's gone.
Yeah.
And then I knew last spring that I was planning on coming back to Albuquerque. My athletes didn't know that. So I was going to tell them around April, like, hey guys, you have 1 more month left with me. Like, I wanted to break the news to them, you know, in a personal manner and kind of let them know. And then COVID hit and I didn't see him after spring break. Like, I never got to say goodbye. Like, I tried, like, kind of organizing a Zoom call or a phone meeting, and I only got in contact with, like, 3 or 4 of them because, like, I mean, it was hard on everybody.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, I had a really, really tough spot, and I've never experienced something like that in my life before. I've always been, like, positivity and enthusiasm is always
you've
easy
all
for me.
been very energetic.
Yeah, and
Right.
so to, like, be challenged like that, it was freaking hard, but, like, I learned so many coping skills. I learned so many lessons, and, you know, it's either a blessing or a lesson, right?
Yeah.
Like, last year was hard for everyone, but, like, you can't just throw it in the chuck it bucket, right? You gotta, like, take something from it
Yeah.
and find a purpose from it.
No, I totally get you.
Yeah.
Before we continue,
Yeah.
David, can you make sure that camera, when that's on her, that the arm is not completely blocking out? No, because here's why I say that. It just dawned on me. Because the last...
We're good?
It's not blocking her face. Oh, thank God. Because here's what happened. So we shot an episode with somebody, and it was a great time. First time meeting the girl in person, actually, and she was great. And so before I installed these mounts, I have these, like, clamps, right? And the clamp went into that bar on the ground.
Okay.
Right? Or not on the ground, but on the bottom of the table. And so it was coming up from there, and it would come up and drop down, and she was sitting right there. So this camera is right there, and so, like,
The whole time.
like, this part of her face is just being blocked out, and I'm editing it, and I'm like, fuck.
Oh, man.
Oh my God, that's gonna be annoying. But yes, that's why I asked.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's a very real thing, and I feel like for obvious reasons, like, a lot of people took the worst parts of 2020 and ran with it because it's just easier to.
It's, yeah, you know.
It's just so much easier just to dwell on the bullshit that happened. But, like, I mean, all of this is because of 2020 for
Yeah.
sure. Like, I was at a point, like, after the lockdowns were, like, mostly done, and I was fortunate enough to find a job at a place that was deemed essential, and I just deeming things essential is just fucking bullshit in my opinion anyway. But, like, I got the job and I was happy to be there, but I hated it, right? I was working in a warehouse, and the people that I worked for were great, and this was the job itself, right? And, like, I looked around and I was like, all right, it's a small business. Well, it's a multi-million-dollar business, but it's a one location business that's local to Albuquerque. And I looked around and I was like, okay, these people have been here for upwards of 10 years, like, all of them. And the ones that haven't been have every intention to be, right? So here, I'm only going to get promoted if somebody dies, retires, or quits. No. Like, that, there's no fucking, no, I'm not doing that. So it kind of just came to a point where I was like, yeah, we'll find another job and I'll figure out what I'm going to do from there. But, like, I need to figure out, like, something to do for myself, right? And then, like, really, I could not make a cent off of this podcast, and I'll be happy with it because I just love doing it.
Yeah.
Like, it gives me an excuse to sit down with people and have a good conversation. I get to have a couple of my friends behind the computer, and we just get to hang out. You know, it's just a good time. And then, like, I remember in December when we were talking about Briscoe's episode, it was him and his buddy here, and then I had 2 of my other friends sitting there, and I had, like, another 2 of them sitting there. So we were just all sitting around and bullshitting. They just happened to be mics, right?
Yeah.
So I remember I was at work, and I was listening to Joe Rogan, right? I was listening to his episode with Post Malone.
Okay.
Have you heard that one yet?
No.
Oh, it's fucking amazing. It is hilarious. They get, like, not blasted, but they get pretty fucking high off of mushrooms. And they have a couple beers, and they just, like, talk about, like, that's the funny part. It's like they talk about nothing necessarily interesting. Like, they'll talk about, like, Post Malone's career and what it's like to be so famous out of nowhere, pretty much. But, like, I'd say maybe 70% of that conversation is nothing really important. Like, if you wrote it down and showed it to somebody, it's like, why the fuck are you listening to this?
Yeah.
But it's just cool watching people enjoy things.
Yeah.
And then I just saw that, and I was like, well, what do my friends do on a Friday night? Right? We sit around, we have a couple of beers and talk about nothing important. What happens if you just threw a microphone in it?
Hell yeah.
You know, and now here we are.
I love
and
it.
it's really fucking fun.
That's sick, man.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, so with 2020 happening and all that getting taken away, what did you do to, like, keep yourself going?
Man.
Like I feel like this is a really important thing to talk
Yeah,
about, you know, because like
yeah.
a lot of people, like I said, they just focus on the negative.
Yeah.
And yeah, there are things you can do, and like I feel like at a surface value, they're all kind of like not all of them, but some of them are kind of like corny, and they're kind of like generic, but they work.
Yeah,
Right. There's
yeah,
a
yeah.
reason why all of these like mental exercises are popularized.
Yeah.
Because they work.
Yeah.
So what did you find that worked for you?
Okay, so, man, you're opening up a great can of worms. I love this. All right, so, like, first off, one thing that I have learned from this experience is, like, there's, like, different approaches to being positive and, like, you know, finding purpose in things. But when you are dealing with something like diagnosed depression or diagnosed anxiety, kind of those generic things aren't as helpful. And, like, because, again, March, April, May, I think definitely March and April, I was probably in my bed just like all the time. I probably got like maybe like 500 steps that day going to the fridge and going to the bathroom.
Fucking,
Like,
yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, I binge watched, I cannot tell you how many freaking shows, but one was like The Office. I watched all of The Office in like 3 weeks, I think. And it was awful. Like, sometimes I would hate waking up because I was like, fuck, I gotta deal with this crap again and all this heavy stuff on my mind. Yeah. And on top of it, I was student teaching, so I still had to like come up with assignments, teach a lesson.
Oh, so you're still like remote teaching?
Yeah, I was remote
this is when remote teaching began.
Yeah, so in the spring, like, we weren't doing video calls or like kind of video classes because we hadn't advanced to that concept yet, at least at my school that I was student teaching at. So it was kind of like, think of like a college online class, how like assignments are posted and you have to do a discussion board. So that's kind of what I was doing. So again, I had to still, in this really awful state of mind, I still had to do my job and teach students and grade and accomplish my college classing because, like, I mean, I still had to graduate. It's not like, hey, you're going to get a degree. Like, no, I still had to work for that.
Yeah.
So before COVID, before all this happened, like, again, mental exercises are so important. Like, one thing is I would journal 3 things a day that I was grateful for. Because if you think about it, like, your brain's a muscle. You've got to work it out. It's kind of like just like going to the gym and working out.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
And so, and I'd have like my students do this, my athletes, but if you write down 3 things a day that you're grateful for, you're going to start training your brain to think about the positive. And so when something shitty happens in your life, instead of your brain going, oh, life sucks, your brain's going to go, oh, hey, you know, but here's a positive. Here's a lesson that you can pull from this. But if you're constantly only thinking about the negative stuff, then when something negative happens, your brain's going to go to something negative, right?
Right, yeah, exactly.
So, like, before COVID even happened, I'm already doing, like, good exercises for mental health and being positive. And then COVID happens, and the stuff that I've been doing for years wasn't working.
Interesting.
God, that was hard. Like,
interesting.
The stuff that's always worked for me to not work.
Yeah.
And just, I felt stuck. I felt like I plateaued, and I was like, I can't
get
out of this mental state. And so I think, like, kind of owning my experience and instead of shaming away from it, like talking about it with my friends or just like not trying to put on this fake happy, like, life is so great. Like,
as cities are actively burning, people are coughing way too much. Like,
yeah, like, honestly, like, kind of owning your experience, because toxic positivity is totally a thing. If you're like, oh,
fuck yes, it is.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like,
yeah.
I was talking to one lady, and she's a good family friend, and her daughter was a senior in high school, and I'm a senior in college, and we were talking, and she goes, well, like, at least this isn't, man, I can't even.
No, I exactly.
Yeah.
I get
and she says, like,
that's...
at least it's not this. And it's like.
But it is this.
But it is this. It still sucks. Like, we can't, like, minimize our experiences. We can't just, like, put this pretty blanket over everything we're going through, because that kind of almost makes us feel like we're not seen.
Yeah.
And we aren't being heard.
No, for sure.
And, like, our feelings aren't validated. If you're like, oh, well, at least it's not this. And so, yeah, I think really kind of accepting my experience and just being like, declaring like, hell yeah, I was in a depression for 3 months and I've never gone through that. That's nuts.
It's a scary thing, right?
Yeah. And so, again, luckily I already started going to therapy beforehand just for basically, I started going to therapy the fall of 2019 because I just wanted to better myself as a person.
No, for sure.
And
okay.
yeah, and like I read a lot of self-help books, and I hit this realization of like, I can only do so much to better myself. If I work with a professional, like they can help me improve so much more. So luckily, I already normalized therapy for myself. So going through COVID, going through that depression, I already had a therapist. So that was like a major, major help.
No, that's awesome. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and then what I noticed was I had to get movement in my day. Like in May and June, things got a lot better because I started going to a park and working out or doing yoga because it's crazy how much your mind and your body are connected. Like if you lay in bed all day, like sometimes it's hard. If you have actually diagnosed depression, like no shame for that. But once I got out of my bed on the days that I got movement in, they probably weren't the best days, but they were better. Yeah. And like they got me thinking a little bit more. And that kind of was my process of getting back to my normal.
For sure.
Was movement.
Yeah.
So that was kind of different for me. Because again, I'm used to all of these, not like mind games, but like how to practice positivity and everything to do with my mind.
Well, you're actively stimulating your brain.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
and then just like have all of that. I mean, because I feel like a lot of the reason why you're able to like supplement that is because you're out doing things.
Yeah.
And then so when you're locked among four walls, day after day after day, going into months, yeah, you have your computer, but like what's a computer more than just bright lights?
Yeah.
Even if there are people on the other end, it's not this.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So I totally get you. That's awesome that you're able to like.
Yeah, so definitely movement
adapt.
was like something that I totally learned from this experience. It's just like how much your body and your mind are just connected. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I totally get you. And like, so for me, the back end of 2019, I was finally just like, okay, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I need to do something, right? I kind of just sat down with myself and like, all right, everything else is going like fine, but I need to do something with myself, and I love working out.
This is before the pandemic?
Yeah, before the pandemic hit.
Okay,
so this is like November-ish.
Okay.
October, November. And I was like, okay, who do I look up to, right? Outside of like my personal circle of people that I know, like who are people that I actually look up to? What do I actually enjoy doing? And the bare minimum between all of that, the common denominator was physical activity and specifically weightlifting. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay. And one of my really great friends from when I went to military school, his nickname is Poncho, but his first name is Alfonso. And he lives in Mexico and he's a professional bodybuilder.
Okay.
And so I hit him up and I was like, dude, like I'm losing my fucking mind. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. Like, can you train me? Like, can you send me like workout plans, a diet plan? He's like, fuck yeah, let's do it. So he sent me this starting out workout plan and a starting diet plan. He's like, do this for 4 months and let's see what the fuck happens. And I was like, okay, cool. And I started doing it in between like October and like January-ish, January to February, I start just like stacking on muscle. And I got like addicted to working out.
Yeah.
More so than I've ever been in my life. Like I got addicted. And I was seeing good progress too, right? And so by the time like COVID hit, I was finally putting up more than 2 plates on bench. I was pulling like 450 pounds off the ground and I was doing like crazy squats, and then the pandemic happened and all the gyms shut down.
Man.
Grocery stores were fucking packed, and then we get quarantined. And I was like, well, oh well.
Yeah.
Because like a big part of the reason why I started doing that too was to just help combat my own depression, right?
Yeah.
Just trying to like finally like do something about it. And that got taken away and I was like, oh, this is fantastic. And so I was fortunate enough, like during like, I think I'll say like the very beginning of January is when I started like kind of doing the same thing. Like I started actually going to therapy, trying to start to get something like what am I dealing with, right? Mm-hmm. Because like when I was, I mean, honestly, probably middle school, maybe high school when I started, like really. But like, I just always noticed that like, I would like look around and it's like, why is everyone happier than me? Like, this isn't that great. Like, we're just kind of here, man. Like, what are you so happy about, right? And
God, I must have been so annoying in middle school.
No.
Kathryn's the worst. She's so fucking happy all the time.
No.
What drugs is she on? Get me on that.
No, not at all. That's fucking funny. No. So, no,
Sorry.
That's funny. No, so but like I was just kind of just like, why is everyone so much happier than I am? And like especially and then like going into like military school, like I loved NIMI and I would do it all over again. Like it was all the BS that brought like it's given me everything that's positive about my life. And so I just got to a point where I was like, I remember like going through like my freshman year of high school and, you know, you're a 14-year-old kid mixed in with everyone between 14 years old to 23 years old, right? So there's a lot of influences going on. Yeah, because there's a junior college too.
Okay.
Yeah, and so being around people that like are currently in like mostly the National Guard and the reserves, we maybe have like one or two people who have been prior active duty because they like got in at 17 years old, got out at 22 and then went to college. And so like even though it wasn't the Army for sure, and it wasn't like the military, like it was very much obviously just a military school, the culture is still there. And a big culture is like the extremely dark humor, right? So it's just suicide jokes left and fucking right. So now, granted, being older now and being surrounded, like I am surrounded by veterans and surrounded by people that currently serve. I mean, like I think everyone in my current circle either has served or currently serves. And I totally get it. Like, you need to laugh at your situation or it's going to consume you, right? But these are also grown adults, right, who can differentiate, like, what's going on, what's a joke, what's not. And so, like, growing up, I got to a point, or I didn't get to a point, like, I started at a point where I was like, oh, well, maybe having thoughts like that is just it's something inevitable. Like, everyone's going to get to that point. It's just a matter of when. Okay. And when you do get to that point, you just start joking about it because that's what helps like keeping it at bay, right? That's what helps like push those things away. And so that's what I started doing. Like, oh, that's because I mean, some of the jokes were pretty fucking funny, but like, I'm just gonna be honest, some of them were pretty fucking funny, but like, because they just were. But like, also, it wasn't healthy for a brain that's still developing. And so then like I hop into like, I'm 18 years old going into junior college at that point. And it really started like, now I'm thinking back on it, like senior year. But like at that point of high school, I didn't make the junior year of college.
Okay.
Yeah.
It happened.
5-time college dropout. No. So I just got to a point where I was like, well, I'm having these thoughts like all day and I'm just stressed out constantly. This is a hard school, right? It's a very academically challenging school, right? And when you're stupid, it's even harder. Let me tell you, like, dude, I'm not good at school. Like, I've never been good at math. I've never been good at like science. So,
well, real quick, that doesn't make you stupid. You've got so many other things that you're a genius in, that you're super smart in.
Thank you. But yeah, those topics were hard for me. Yeah. So in high school, since it's such a generalized coursework, right? You're like doing a little bit of everything. Not succeeding at those classes started to like bleed into everything else, and then also general laziness, and then the fact that I was anywhere between a 14 and 18-year-old kid without parental supervision. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to do my homework today. I'm going to bed. You know, like nap time was like a thing, right? My gosh. Like fucking So going like from my junior year, senior year of high school, you know, like I'm already like some of it might have been a little bit serious, but I'd probably say like 90% of it was joking. It's like, yeah, I could do my math homework. I just blow my head off. That's a lot easier fucking option. But I'm like laughing at it, but I'm not realizing like what kind of seeds I'm planting.
Or like the severity of the things you're actually saying.
Yeah, of what I'm actually saying, right? It was all very light to me. It was all very like happy and like funny. And so like when I would like come home and see some people from here, I'd like be out in public and like make funny jokes. I was like, why are people looking at me so weird? Like, it's a joke. It's a joke. But like to a lot of people, that's not a joke. Yeah. Right? So I never really understood the severity of that, honestly, until like 2 years ago, to be completely frank. Like, that's like 2 years ago, and I really started understanding like the real severity of it. So then going into college and going through all that, and like it was just being like constant things. It's just something that just carried with me, right? So finally, flash all the way forward to 2020. I'm like just having like suicidal thoughts every day, but they're not serious. They're just like, I could do this, but I could also do that, right? But at the end, these are all seeds that I had planted from like years beforehand, right? Nothing I'd ever actually do, but like I didn't know how it was affecting my brain chemistry. I had no idea how it was affecting all these things. So I finally do go to therapy, and it's just cool, like to experience like what that's like,
How did you go about that? How did you decide? Did you have a doctor tell you to? How did
No,
you
I
get
kind of just like decided. I was
Okay.
like, well, let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
Right. Let's just see what happens. I forget like what the actual like turning point for me was, but I was just like, yeah, let's just see what the fuck happens. And so I went, and the long story short from all of that is after telling them about like how I've grown up and like a lot more elaborate of what I've just said, and then after a couple of sessions, the person I was with was like, okay, so here's the deal. What you're describing is it can definitely be fixed with like, I hate large engines so much.
Wait, real quick. Turn on the heater.
Oh yeah.
I'm little.
Oh yeah.
You
Sorry.
turned that off, and I was like, why? Just turn the rotation off and just have it on me.
Okay.
Yeah. Taking off my heater. What the hell?
And how's that?
Sweet.
Okay. Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I forget that I'm like a lot heavier. Anyway, so.
Okay, so you just decided to go therapy.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
had
And
a
then
lot
so
of
they were like,
sessions.
yeah, so they're like, okay, yeah, we could do things to fix this through like mental exercises and all these things, and that'll definitely work. But what it seems like to us, and if there are tests you can run on this, I definitely have the money to access it. Basically, what they had found was that I have a thing called dysthymia. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
So basically what dysthymia is, it's that for whatever reason, your brain just does not produce enough dopamine and serotonin as compared to what like the average brain should.
Yeah.
Right? It just doesn't. So the analogy that I was given was like, let's imagine you have a bathtub, right? And you put your brain right next to the drain.
Okay.
And you run the faucet. Well, what I'm dealing with is the drain never plugs, and the faucet kind of just, the water dripping out is the dopamine and serotonin.
Wow.
And it just lightly touches the brain.
Wow.
That's what
okay.
I was dealing with.
Dang.
So like if, let's say like this city does not shut the fuck up. My God. So let's say you've got like, this is where everyone sits at for a normal day, right? This is like, they're not exuberantly happy. They're not sad. They're just like going through their day. They're doing their errands. They're doing their job.
Yeah.
They're existing, right? Raising kids.
Yeah.
They're like right here. My normal day was typically like right here.
Man.
And so when someone has an exuberant day, it goes up to like here. And what I thought was a great day went to like right here. So I was like barely breaking even.
Barely normal.
Yeah, barely.
On a great day.
On a great day.
Man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I get all this told to me, and I'm like, okay, well, that's fantastic. I can only go up, right?
It's kind of like, well, thanks for telling me what the fuck is wrong with me.
yeah. It's like, so,
Now
yeah,
what?
now what?
Like-
So what's cool is like, and I was like terrified of getting on medication because I have friends that are on antidepressants, antipsychotics, anti-anxiety medication.
Yeah.
And I just hear like the horror stories of what they do to you, right? They could exacerbate your symptoms. They could like zombie you out and just turn you into a drone. Like there's so many different like outcomes you could have. And so they tried me out on the one that I'm on right now, and it's called Wellbutrin. And basically what it did is using the same analogy. So instead of that brain just like sitting next to the drain and then the drain's not plugging, they plug the drain, turn on the faucets like 200%, and now the brain is just like soaking in fucking like serotonin and dopamine.
Okay.
And it is fucking weird.
Yeah.
It is weird. I remember like last year I started taking it in like March of last year, and it was just like literally colors got brighter. It was so wild. And then like my brain like literally like could not form like a suicidal thought. It couldn't do it.
It just couldn't.
It's like imagine like if you're writing a sentence on like a whiteboard and you just can't continue. Like you literally just don't know how to continue the sentence. It was the weirdest thing. And then like it just made me like super wired too. I'm not like hyper focused, but like I'm not just like, yeah, I'll eventually do something at some point. You know, it's kind of just like that. I'm like, no, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to go here, then I'm going to go there, and then I'm going to do this. And then I just like, it was really easy to just stay on task and like do a lot of things. And like, that was fucking wild. Now, I'm not going to say like medications for everybody, because it's certainly not.
Yeah.
But like,
But for you, it worked out.
this is a product of the medication. I'm going to be like 100%. Like, it is wild.
So are you still
Yeah,
on it?
so I
So it's been about a year now?
Yeah. So when I was first put on it, they were like, "Hey, your typical cycle on this is going to be 10 to 12 months.
Okay.
When that time comes, and you feel like you want to get off of it, try it out, and do all these things." And I was like, "Okay." So
you're there now, like 10. It's been about 10 to 12 months.
right.
Now?
So back in this past January, like
Okay.
2 weeks in, I was kind of like, "Hey, I don't want to like live my life dependent on these things." Like, cause like, it's great that I have them, you know, but excuse me. It's great that I have them, but like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life, right? I would like to know that my brain functions on its own. So like, yeah, well, you're actually on like the lowest dosage of like one of the least severe medications. So if you got off, you'd be fine. And I was like, suspicious. Like, okay. Like, you know, like, okay, we'll try it. And so I was like, what if I like have symptoms again? What do I do then, doc? And they're like, oh, you just give us a call and you'll be okay. And I was like, I can't get a hold of you when I want to get a hold of you. What about when I need to? You know, like, I can't do this when I want to. Like, what about when I need to?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you'll be okay. I was like,
That's not an answer.
like, our healthcare system fucking sucks. So I was like, all right, whatever. And I got off of it like second week of January.
Okay.
And I just noticed it. It's just a slow tapering off of motivation,
Okay.
of focus. Nowhere near where I was beforehand,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah.
But I'm just like sluggish, and I was just like unmotivated, unfocused, didn't want to really do anything. I was kind of just like drag. So I was started to drag through life again.
Yeah.
And so finally I was like, you know what? Maybe it's just not time to get off of medications,
Okay.
or maybe this is just a thing that's going to be a part of my life. And I just got to now work a little bit harder to ensure this is always going to be something I have access to. And when the apocalypse comes, well, let's just hope I had a fucking stockpile because, oh well. Can you actually can you look that up real quick? Because there's two types of antidepressants. I'm sure you know that. There's like, Wellbutrin real quick. WELLBU. Yeah. So, because there's like an SSRI, and there's like a different version. I forget what this is called. Because like, go to, I don't know, find something that's .org. That's not Wikipedia. Because no. Yeah, fuck it.
What are you targeting? What are you trying to look up about it?
Like what it chemically does to your brain. Well, because like try to find the side effects specifically, and also magnify that if you can. Because like one thing I was worried about, and I was very candid with my doctor. I was like, "Hey man, so I'm kind of open to taking medication, but I'm a 23-year-old guy. I'm active. I have things I want to do in life. I don't want to lose my libido, man.
Yeah.
I do not want to lose the drive, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I don't want to do that." And so, are you able to find side effects?
And this is before you got the
Yeah,
medication?
this is before I took it. And
Okay,
so I
okay.
was like, yeah, man, I don't want to like lose my libido. So what's going to happen? He goes, yeah, this is actually the only antidepressant that's going to skyrocket your sex drive. So have fun with that. I was like, oh, fuck. like,
You're like, all right.
I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can handle that at 23 years old.
There's a lot.
Can you like magnify it? Like go up to the 3 dots under that X.
And like zoom.
Yeah, and then do the zoom, like plus, I'll tell you when to stop because my eyes suck. Perfect.
I was about to say, I was feeling a little old. I was doing that.
Yeah, no, my eyes fucking
Do you
suck.
think-
Okay, side effects. Okay, so I did have like nausea and stomach pain, like the first like 4 days that I took it.
Okay.
But that was also because like I didn't eat immediately beforehand like I should have. It was just because like sometimes that I would have it, I would eat a little bit after. So there was a little bit of that. Yeah, I didn't have any of these. Excessive sweating, Jesus. Frequent urination? No, I don't think so. Irrational fears? Oh, I definitely had that actually. Just kidding. I had that randomly like last November. It was for like 2 days straight when I was here at my house by myself. I thought like someone was like gonna break in. It was the weirdest thing. Yeah, but then although it's not like I was like in a dark house, like my lights were on and all that. I was just sitting watching TV and then I think I hear something and I just be like all jumpy for some reason. It was weird as fuck. Oh, so like the seizures part of it. So I actually asked my provider. I was like, okay, so I know you're not supposed to drink on most medications, especially not antidepressants, because alcohol's a depressant. So like that's kind of counterintuitive. But I was like, I like whiskey, man. Like I like the taste of it. I like beer. Yeah, I like beer. And so like, what happens if I drink? And he's like, well, you have two options. And I was like, oh, okay. He goes, look, you can have a couple of drinks and nothing's going to happen to you. You'll be okay. And you just move on with your life. I was like, oh, awesome. He goes, but if you have a little bit too much, you could have a seizure and die. And I was like,
That just went from like 0 to 100 real quick.
yeah, and I was like, so wait, how much is too much? And he literally goes, oh, you'll see. I'm just like, what? What?
Noted.
And he's like, well, yeah, I can't really tell you because like your body composition, everyone's different. The alcohol you're drinking. And I'm like, but you're a doctor.
Yeah.
Like, can you not hop on WebMD like the rest of you fucks and just find out?
So what did you do? Did you just like not take the medication if you drink that day? Or
Yeah.
what?
So what I did is like, because I started taking it, like I said, in like the beginning of March of last year. Something in my eye. Beginning of like March of last year is when I took something or started taking it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to like wait I think I waited till my birthday actually. So I waited from March to June, and I was like, well, let's see what happens if I don't drink, if I have any crazy side effects. And I didn't, thank God. But then for my birthday, I just got absolutely fucking hammered. And I mean, I was just like, okay, well, I haven't had a drink in so long. I'm gonna try to take it easy, and I didn't take it easy, and I just got like gone. And nothing happened.
And so you still took the medication?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
And you're still alive.
Oh,
and you're here, so
apparently. I just made
you
poor.
didn't find it out.
No, yeah, I just made poor decisions. As usual. So yeah, I was just like, all right, well, I think I'm okay now, and I don't like feel weird. Like I'd also like how it said on that thing that it had like there was seizures, but there's like uncontrollable shaking of like a certain part of your body.
Okay.
And I was like, I didn't have that either, so I think I'm okay. And nothing's ever happened since. But yeah, moral of the story here is mental health is important. And I'm very excited. I think on the 24th of this month, I have a behavioral psychologist coming on.
Okay.
I'll be able to sit down with her and talk about like family behavioral studies and like family like mental health shit that's been going on. I'm very excited about that.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's sick that you were able to and you're willing to like talk about your experience because like that's the problem with what we're doing nowadays, especially with social media. There's this one motivational fitness woman I follow on Instagram, and she talks about like
What's her name?
Oh crap, Julia.
Can you find this real quick?
Julia Butler.
On the IG.
But anyways, one thing that she talks about is in a world of highlight reels
Facts.
be real.
Yeah.
Because, like, think about it. On Instagram, think of, like, kind of a reel of stuff
you
going on.
can go on my Instagram, dude.
Let's see.
Butters.
Butters or is it?
No, Butler, I
Butler.
believe. But, yeah, if you go to Instagram, I think you could go to my Instagram and go to my followers. No, she does not follow me. Go to
I
who
was gonna say, she
follow.
follows
no,
you.
she does not.
Damn.
No, go who I follow.
Slowly but surely.
We will get there.
Yeah, this was my Wi-Fi is just not. It's been like real shitty recently.
Julia. Again, I think it's Butler, but I could be very wrong. It starts with a B. Hey, do me a favor. Go to my Instagram. Kathryn, Kathryn. Ooh. There we go. First one. Yeah. Okay, go to my following. Boom. And now type in, is there a place where you can Google? There should be a place.
No, okay, so fun fact, Instagram on desktop is actual dog shit.
What is this?
Oh, wait, that was it right there, right? Go up?
No, I think that was just Peachy, which is my best friend.
Oh, yeah, whoops. Anyway.
I'll find it. You won.
Okay, so anyway, so you follow this person and...
Yeah, and so again, she says, like, in a world of highlight reels, because think about it, kind of like a reel of, like,
Yeah.
film or whatever, like, on your Instagram, all you post is your highlights, right? Just what are the good things in your life, everything going great. But in, like, a world of highlight reels, be your real self. Like, show your real. And she does a lot, like, again, she's a fitness motivational person, and so, like, on her posts, like, you know, they're posting photos of, like, oh, look, I'm fit and I work out, but then she's like, this is what you see on Instagram, and then this is what you see, like, this is what I see.
How I actually look.
Yeah, like, here's me
Right.
purposefully posing my body to look the best it can be, and then here's me sitting normally, like a normal person. And, like, again, in our world, we just want to talk about only the good stuff in our life, and then it makes everyone feel alone with all the shit we do,
Yeah.
all the crap. And, like, us being willing and brave enough to be vulnerable about our experiences can just make other people, you know, it might encourage other people to go to therapy, or it might encourage other people to realize, shit, maybe what I'm going through, I'm not the only one to go through this.
Right.
And there's actually solutions out
Well, because,
there.
like, in the best and the worst of ways, I believe this, nobody's special, right? Like, seriously. Like, are there people that are more talented in certain areas than others? For sure, right? Are there people smarter than others? 100%. Like, that's just a fact, right? Those are just numbers at that point. But nobody's special. Like, nobody's, like, exclusive to, like, their one thing.
Their one experience.
Right, their
Like,
one
they're not
experience.
the only person
like
to
if you
experience this.
if you have gone through something, if you have done something, if you thought something, you are not the first and you are not the last.
That's good.
You're not gonna be.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. And appreciate you, David. And I think that's super important because, like, I think a big problem with the mental health crisis in this country is because of social media. Like, our reward systems just absolutely jack the fuck up, right? Like, so if you go on Instagram and you're seeing, like how, if you, I haven't done it in a while, but I was just curious about how many times you can reload Instagram, like, in succession, right? And then see how many new posts and new things it brings you. I think I went like 8 or 10 times of just constantly refreshing and just new things were popping up, right? So, like, it's always feeding that reward system.
To make my life easier, is she verified? Do you know?
Yes.
Okay.
Smart.
Yeah,
Smart
that's a
question.
very-
Yeah, that was very clever.
Yeah, that's fair.
Problem solver
Yeah.
over here.
But yeah, so, like, it's just constant, and that's a job, right? Its job is to entertain you. So it's doing exactly what it's engineered to do. But you're constantly feeding that reward system to get that instant gratification.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah, everybody wants everything immediately.
Life better.
And that's the problem with the fitness industry. Like, okay, well, it's not a problem that I don't think they created, but, like, people see, whether you aspire and you idolize MMA fighters, sprinters, bodybuilders, powerlifters, people think they'll train hard for 1 month and become that. It's like, no, like, that takes years and years and borderline decades of consistent hard work, dieting, just doing the same thing every day and constantly improving. And people aren't willing to put in more than like a month's work. I think it's like if you don't do something for more than 3 to 4 weeks, you don't do it again. Like it takes like 3 to 4 weeks to build a good habit. And so
21 days.
Is it 21 days?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it takes 21 days to build up a good habit. And then okay, yeah, that's great. See, so like, and she's saying that like check on yourself as much as you check on your social media because everyone's on that all the fucking time, and you're just feeding that reward system, and it's that's why all the like it took so long for social media to have like optional dark modes because the bright lights are what's feeding the reward system.
I think like to kind of build off of that statement, check on yourself as much as you check on your social media. We don't teach that. We don't teach people to check in on ourselves. I think it's a very new concept. It's a very like it's old knowledge, but a new concept to be telling people. Like, I wish in our school system we were teaching kids how to recognize their mental state, how to, like, things to recognize what, and because, like, we aren't stagnant our whole life. We aren't the same our whole life. Like, I think the difference in our experiences, it seems as though, like, you have clinical depression, like, it's kind of gone through on your whole life. Whereas for me, it was situational.
Yeah.
It was this specific situation in my life just
tanked you.
Tanked
for
me.
Sure.
And I've always been a positive person. So to like go through something I couldn't control and I've never gone through and like I never expected to, because I have friends who have depression and like I always clarify, like when I go to therapy, it's not because I have depression, I don't clarify that to encourage a negative stigma.
No, it's just because you're not going for that.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, I go through this very challenging thing when I have no idea what it's like to have clinical depression, and I'm not trying to claim that challenge because I don't have that challenge. But I
think everybody, like, I was having this conversation with one of our friends, and like we were talking about a whole string of things on this subject. But one thing I was like, even if you weren't dealing with what you're dealing with right now, okay, let's assume you weren't, for argument's sake. Go to therapy.
Honestly,
like
yes.
everyone should. If you have the option, because I know it's not an option for everybody. Because again, our healthcare system sucks. But if you have the option and you have the resources and you have the time to go to some sort of therapy, just do it and see what happens. Right? Yeah. See what gets like brought up by the therapist or the psychologist, and see, because no one's perfect. Everyone has something to work on. So anyway, continue. Honestly. But I totally get you.
But so I wish we just encourage this more. And like, okay, so at Eastern we have career and personal counselors, or like career and I forget what they call it. But I didn't know they were therapists. Like, oh shit! I thought they were just like, a guidance counselor when you need help with like your career or whatever. And so I never put 2 and 2 together that, oh wait, these are counselors, these are therapists. Right. Until one of my friends went and she was telling me about it and how like the therapy session went, and I was like, wait, they're therapists? Because like you use the word counselor and like I didn't process. So I have had a free counselor for the past 5 years, and I only used it for 1 year because I didn't know I had a freaking free counselor.
See, what's funny? So on the flip side of that, when I went down to Roswell to work for a year, right back in IMI after I graduated, like I think 2 years after I graduated. Yeah. So the position they opened up, it was in the admissions office, right, to be working as an admissions recruiter, and
here. Click the what you see, what I see. No.
Oh, good. No, wait, leave it on there for a second. Good. This woman is fucking shredded. Oh my God.
Okay, but actually she talks in that post about how like where she started, that's actually like her in a really unhealthy state of mind.
Okay. So I'll actually talk about that because I was in that same place literally 2 months ago. I'll talk about that. But anyway, go to the post you were talking about.
Yeah, so click out go up, top right, very top. Yeah, what you see, what I see. And she talks about like, look, you see this really fit person, but then I sit down and like, I see my...
Well, because that's just... Okay, so eventually we're going to figure out a way to screen record and put it on the episodes. People can see what we're seeing.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I know, I'm like, you guys have no idea what we're talking about.
We're gonna figure that out.
Cool,
because
that'd be cool.
Because I have 2 options, right? I can either figure out how to do that and put some actual effort into this, or I like drop $700 on another fucking camera and tripod and put that right there. So no.
Yeah.
But so what we're looking at is this... this woman, And she's standing up and she's flexing. Looks like she has a very flat stomach, but then she sits down and she has curves
Like
or rolls.
Like 4 rolls or
the 4
something.
folds or whatever. It's like, well, no shit, because your skin has to compact and then expand for you to stand up and not rip your fucking skin. And people don't understand the basic science behind that. Like that's even science, it's the thought behind that. People don't understand that. So whenever like they sit down and they see like a roll or they see like a side whatever,
they feel bad about themselves.
Like, no.
Everyone has this.
So what if you were flat and you stood up? What do you think would happen? Like, you're going to the hospital, bud.
And she like talks about it in that
Well, right?
But she talked about it in that post of like, you know, this is what you see, this is what I see. And like when I'm scrolling on Instagram, she's like, sometimes I'm on the fitness page. She's like, I'm a fitness motivator. And sometimes I'm scrolling through fitness stuff and this is how I see myself and I start getting discouraged.
Right.
Because like, again, only people are posting their real. I mean, their highlights.
Their highlights of their
reel.
life, right,
Yeah,
yeah.
and she's like, I want to show you guys that like, I don't look like this 24/7. Nobody looks like this 24/7.
Well, okay, so go back to that last one, right, where she's got the fucking 6-pack and she looks shredded as shit. So anyone who actually, because I almost got to that point in January.
Yeah.
So very close. Because I was actually training for a physique competition. And so, which is like, you're good. Which is like natural bodybuilding, right? So the difference between that and like bodybuilding, like the real bodybuilding stuff, is like those dudes walk up in Speedos and they're on, like most of those dudes are on gear, like they're on some sort of steroids, and it's just as jacked as you can get, right? Like how much muscle you can get and then how lean you can get from that, right? How dehydrated you can make your body. Where physique is more like the whole body, where it's like, okay, how does everything look collectively? You're all natural. And it's like, how aesthetically pleasing can you be to the average person, right? And you, instead of wearing Speedos, you're wearing board shorts, stuff like that. So I was training for that, like just to get into that world. Because it very much interests me. And so, like last year, I bulked up to about in like April or May, I was like 195, around there, with like 13% body fat. And so I was like, great, this is going awesome. We're going to maintain this for a bit. And I'm going to start cutting in September. End of September, I'm going to start cutting because I was actually planning on competing in 2 weeks. The competition would have been 2 weeks from today or yesterday. And so I start my cut. And it's going great. It's going good. Things are going okay. And then in middle of November, I started doing like a steep cutoff to like, me and my coach were like, okay, let's try to expedite the process and let's see like what we can do, because I was making good progress, but like because of the progress I have been making, it's like we have a lot of time. Let's say what we can do with that, right? Like how really shredded can I get? And so like from the middle of November, I was at 172, kind of like where I'm sitting right now, but with a lot less body fat. Like I'm probably like 15 right now, and I was at 172. No, I'm like 13 right now. So, but I was at 172 then, but I was at like 11% body fat, and I was like, all right, let's see how further we can go. By the first week of January is when I stopped. First week of January, I was like 159 at 9% body fat, like 9 or 8% body fat, and I was fucking like, there was nothing on me, right? Like I had fucking like, I almost had a full fucking like 6-pack. Like fucking crazy striations coming out of my shoulders. Like my back was like just fucking chiseled. Like I looked good, but just like she was saying, like I had no energy. I was tired all the time, freezing cold. Oh my God. And this is this is the beginning of January. So freezing cold. Like I worked in a warehouse, right? So it gets pretty cold in the mornings. Yeah. But people are only wearing like one jacket, maybe like a jacket and a hoodie. No, I was wearing like a hoodie, 2 jackets, a beanie.
Welcome to my life.
Like I was fucking freezing cold. And then on top of that, like I was just super irritable. Like crazy irritable. And so I just got to a point where I was like, okay, we need to stop and we need to like readjust. And if I don't compete in March, that's okay. Yeah. Because I need to like be healthy. And my coach was completely on board. He's a great friend of mine. And he's like, yeah, dude, like put your health first. Like if you aren't ready to compete yet and it's going to take you like a couple years to prepare your body properly to go through that type of, because it's trauma. You're putting your body through trauma. right? Because you're upping your workouts and you're upping your intensity and you're lowering your fuel. That's traumatic to the body, right? So if your body isn't ready for that type of trauma yet, then maybe you should build up to it more. And that's what I'm having to do now, and just get myself back to a healthier weight. But like, holy fuck, yeah, that shit sucks. Like for anyone who's ever been at that point, they like, God, fuck that sucks.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what I was saying earlier though was like with the reward system getting all jacked up because of social media, when a big problem now is like people so often, and I'm guilty of it every now and again, where like you immediately wake up in the morning. What's the first thing you do?
Oh yeah.
Get on your phone. So your brain is now getting trained to expect absolute darkness and then just right, just
Never
all
thought
in
of
your
that.
face. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think social media was just like, if we knew, like if the American people knew what social media was going to become, and I think especially if our government knew what social media was going to become, the government never would have allowed a social media to be a thing.
It's an interesting thought.
The government.
Really?
No. Fuck no. They would have never. Okay, I'll take that back. They never would have allowed social media the way it is today. It would have been overregulated like fucking crazy. Because like right now, because when it first started out, it was the fun thing, right? I'm getting a hamburger today, right? Or look at this movie I watched, but now it's like these crazy white people are storming the Capitol Hill. Everyone like freak out, right? We get our news from Facebook now, right? Like I saw the storming of the Capitol on Facebook,
Yeah.
right? It wasn't on CNN. It wasn't on Fox. I watched it on my phone. And now that like social media has become this crazy thing, this huge thing that everyone, well, pretty much everyone has access to. And it's also technically they're all private businesses, right? So they are the ones choosing who's getting censored, who's getting like banned, shadow banned. Like they're the ones deciding all this. But if the government would have known, they would have immediately started regulating it right off the bat. I have full confidence in that.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting thought.
I don't trust our government. like because I think like now with how public it is and how everyone is getting access to it like quicker by the day, like, and again, in the fact that so many news are being reported on it, like everything that's going on right now with the stimulus package and like whether or not we're just going to get it or whether or not we're going to get stimulus checks, I'm following all of that on Facebook. Like I trust now that if I need an update about it, I'm going to find it on my Facebook feed. Like I don't go to Fox's website. I don't go to CNN's website. I go to Facebook, right?
Yeah.
And
I think like the scary thing though about social media is how it's affecting kids now.
oh, for
Because
sure.
like we got it when we were like high school. Again, we're just like posting kind of dumb stuff or like
Yeah.
look at what cool stuff we're going through.
I think I got
But, like-
Facebook in middle school, actually. I think I was in sixth
I
grade.
definitely got Facebook in middle school. I got Instagram sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
Sophomore, junior, or something like that. But like, what about these kids who are getting Instagrams in elementary or middle school? Like, and not only like Instagram of what we had Instagram in high school, but like what
Today's-
Instagram is now.
today's
like
Instagram.
with all of the highlight reels and stuff like that. So it kind of like these kiddos, their like mental health is
Yeah.
being so affected by this.
So I wanted to actually get your opinion on stuff like that because
Yeah.
so when the lockdown started happening and all the schools shut down and went on to online learning,
okay.
I looked at all that.
Yeah.
And the biggest reason like I'm not continuing college right now, like as a 23-year-old, even before the lockdowns,
Yeah.
was like, okay, I have two options. Well, three. I can either move back in with my mom and do school full time. Fuck that. I can convince one of my friends to pay like minimal rent and I do school most of the time. Fuck that. Not
Yeah.
going to put somebody in that position. Third is I work a full-time job and do college and just do a couple classes and just stuff like that. Don't really want to. And all of those options include online school. And I know how I am. Like, I need to be in class,
Yeah.
learning. Like, I get, like, 'cause I went to UNM.
Yeah.
I tried UNM twice. And it just wasn't for me. And that's not because, like, a political thing either. Like, because I know UNM's, like, super liberal. Like, we had fucking BuzzFeed videos in the middle of our classes. Like, not saying it's a bad thing, but like it's just like not something that bothered me. I just didn't like the way the school was ran, and I didn't like how like impersonal it was, you
Yeah.
know. So, I just know that like I need to be able to be there and be like, if I have a question, I need to ask it right there.
Yeah.
Right. That's just the kind of person that I am.
Okay.
So online school is just not for me. So I'm seeing all these schools get locked down and all these kids having to do online classes. And I'm like, okay, because I did online courses through high school because like I just failed like every math class at least once. So I had to like make it up in the summer. Mm-hmm. And so I could kind of give a pass to the high schools. Like maybe not all their coursework being online because that's fucking ridiculous. But like a couple classes, right? Because I did it, so like that's okay. But like kids between the ages of like 6, 7, 8, 9, just going up through those ages, you're gonna plop that kid down in front of a computer for 6 to 8 hours a day and tell them to learn? Like there's no sense in that.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how that's gonna work. Now, granted, I don't know what the alternative is.
Yeah.
But like I just feel like that's gonna fuck them for their futures.
I think that's what we're all dealing with. It's like no one has answers. Because, like, this is not how people are supposed to learn. These are not how, like, little kids, elementary schoolers, they're supposed to run around. Heck, we had, like, 3 recesses a day?
Well, they're also, you're also curbing their social development.
Yeah.
Because that's how they
yeah.
learn how to interact with other humans.
And, you know, I think, when was the last time we had a pandemic? Like, we probably won't go through,
100 years ago.
Yeah. So, like, we probably won't go through this again, you know? So it's not like we have to try to figure out how to do a pandemic correctly, right? Because we're not probably going to have to deal with it again, at least in our lifetime. So I think instead of trying to figure it out or come up with the best option, we can't do that. We're human. We're imperfect. And it's kind of like hindsight 2020. You know, we're going to have all of the information once this thing is over, and we're going to probably have better ideas of what we could have done after we've done it.
Okay, so I think that feeds perfectly into mental health. Like for me, right? Like I said before, like if it weren't for the podcast, I wouldn't be on social media right now. Mm-hmm. Because like I just see all this craziness going on, and the media just feeds fear so easily and so quickly that like now, like I feel like when through outlets like Facebook and Instagram and all these, when you see all these horrific things happening across the country, there was no solution. There was no like, hey, guys, there's a lot of bad things going on right now, but here's how you can help like cope with it. Here's how you can help digest it. Here's how you can help tell it to your kids, because kids aren't immune to this. Like I know of kids that are like 8 years old that have cell phones.
Yeah.
You know, so they're not immune to this. And I think like, did you ever watch Some Good News? During the beginning of the pandemic, I think that John Krasinski from The Office.
Yeah.
Did you ever see what he did?
Yeah,
with
I did
Some
see
Good
a couple
News.
of those,
Can you pull it up on YouTube real quick? SGN. Yeah, that was like the greatest thing to come out of the pandemic. Well, one of the greatest things. Like, because literally all he did was just highlight what was going on, like the good things that were happening, and how like people were like doing like the drive-by birthdays.
Yeah.
And he had like members of the office come on Zoom, and like his wife got into it. I didn't even know that he got The Rock.
See, that's kind of one thing that, you know, we were talking. You asked me earlier, like, what are some.
Yeah, I got it, hand. I got it. Cool. You're saying?
Shoot, what was I saying? You asked me a question, and you said, like, what things did I take out from 2020? Like, what did I learn? What are, like, some good coping skills? I was talking about, like, movement and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's the cool thing about humans, is we turn pain into something beautiful. And, like...
We definitely have the ability to.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like, think of the music that's come out of 2020. So many cool-ass albums have been dropped. And, like, it was inspired by the shit we're going through,
Run the
right?
Jewels 4, that purple pinkish album I've got up there.
Oh, yeah?
If you haven't heard that, I'll I'll send it to you on text, like
Yeah.
Spotify.
Okay.
One of the best rap albums I have ever heard,
Okay.
period, came out last year.
Yeah.
For sure. I totally agree.
Yeah, and like the Struts, I don't know if you've heard of them. Yeah, they came out with a new album. It was just like 10 songs. And they dropped one album, like 14 songs. I went to their like touring concert of it. Awesome. And the pandemic hit, and like their album was because of this pandemic. Like they probably wouldn't have dropped out a second album that quickly after their most recent release. But yeah, just think about like the music that came from this, and like the pain and all the crap that they talk about. Like right now with my students, we're doing a poetry unit, and I'm talking to them about how, you know, we use poetry and music as like a coping skill. Like we're putting all of our pain into something.
Well, music is poetry.
Yeah, oh, it is.
No, for
totally,
sure.
yeah. And like we're putting our pain into something, and we're writing these emotional lines. And not only is it a coping skill, but it's fucking beautiful.
Yeah, but you have
Like,
you have exceptions like, you know, WAP. That's not exactly
oh,
poetry.
no. Why are you like, no, we aren't bringing that up.
That's not exactly poetry, but
That is not. But you know what I mean, right? And like, or maybe the books or the stories people are writing right now, like we're getting some pretty cool stuff out of the events in our life.
Or the other one.
Surprise me.
Okay. You want to make bigger. He's giving me the weird eye.
Ah.
But yeah, no, I totally agree. Like there's a lot of beautiful things that come out of this. And music is 100% poetry.
Yeah.
Please be careful when you open that up. I just realized how bad of an idea that was as it was like flying through the air. For those of you listening, I threw him a beer. But no, I totally agree. And I think a lot of beautiful things, like, you know what like was awesome? Speaking more about like fitness. Every like fitness person that I follow on Facebook were putting out just these massive home workouts. Like there was, like, it's like
That's
everyone
pretty
and their mom put out home workouts, and then like there's even one dude shredded as fuck, right? I forget his name, but he was putting out like workout routines with a like how you can use a towel and how you can use like pots and pans if I do from different push-ups and like raises. And like it was insane what people were doing. Like, 'cause like I'm in the process of building that guy. Yeah. But not everyone has access to that, you know? Yeah. And then, but on the flip side of that, what kind of sucked was like, you ever see those dumbbells? I think they're made by Bowflex, where like you have like the handle, and it's in the way. See if you could pull up like the dumbbells on Amazon, and it's like this case that holds it, and there's like the different weights. Okay. They go like that, and you can, there's like locking mechanisms where you choose how much weight you want, and you pull it out, and it has like a certain amount of weight. Those normally run for like, yeah, those guys right there, perfect. So yeah, those normally run for about $200-300.
Oh shoot!
Right? No, during the pandemic, they went for like $2,000.
Oh my god!
On Amazon.
That's ridiculous.
People were scalping the fuck out of exercise equipment. It was horrible. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, and then like just getting exercise equipment through like Target was impossible. Mm-hmm. Walmart was impossible. Like the only thing I got at the time was like these little like resistance bands. Yeah. But even then, like, not gonna do a whole lot for you. But can you go back to Instagram real quick? So I remember when you were graduating college, you were like, I remember seeing a picture of you. See if we could find it real quick, where you were just like, you got fucking muscle. Like, you were stacked. And I remember looking like, Kathryn. Yeah. Lay off the trend, man. Oh, my God. Like, so what were you training at that point? Like, how, like, where yeah, the red dress. Yeah. So, were you just, like, in extra good shape?
I mean, I'm kind of in that shape now. You just can't tell because I got the cardigan. But, okay, so let's see. Freshman year of college, I had foot surgery and I couldn't run. And like the following semester, my first year of sophomore year, I walked onto the cross country and track team, and I was working with the athletic trainer and getting my foot back into better shape, and I just wasn't making any advancements. With my foot surgery, they were saying, the doctor was like, I think you have minute tears on your tendon and some scar tissue. So they went in. I didn't have any tearing. I just had scar tissue. So nothing was torn, nothing that they could see, but I have scar tissue. So something wrong was going on. Well, then I've been working with a physical therapist. Turns out my hips are twisted. I have a sacral torsion. So because my hips are twisted wrong, gives me back problems, and then it shifts everything in my leg. It pushes my fibula down, and it causes a lot of stress on my 4th and 5th metatarsal in my foot. So the physical therapist was like, I'm really excited to work with you because, like, I know what's wrong with you. I know how to fix you. And he was like, okay, that's weird. He's like, I know what's wrong with you, but
I can fix it.
But he's like, I know how to get you back to running shape. Because I was like
Right.
21 when I worked with the physical therapist. And he's like 5 minutes in, I'm in limping pain with my running.
Oh, shit.
So basically, that was kind of like, again, freshman year, fast forward to like senior year of what I just told you, like foot surgery to physical therapy. Like, it's a very long process. Because, the second thing about being an adult and about our medical system is like, you have to advocate for yourself. Like, the physical therapist isn't going to call you up. You have to. So, like, being a college student, it just took me a while to get to a physical therapist.
Yeah, for sure. You don't have a whole lot of time on your hands.
So basically, I mean, my whole life I wanted to be a college athlete. And like,
Yeah.
I mean, I got there. I walked onto the cross country and track team. Probably would have gotten a scholarship if I like got to run my junior and senior of high school. But basically I walked on with my sophomore times from high school.
Okay.
So anyways, and I can't run. Like, I hit college and, I'm so excited to run. And you just feel like being told, like, you can't do the thing you want to do. So what I could do was I could lift. Like, lifting didn't hurt my foot. So basically the past, like, 4 years, I took 5 years to do college. But, like, sophomore to my super senior year of college, I've just been lifting.
Nice.
Because that's what I could do. And then what's cool is, like, I found a big passion for it. I really love to lift. So right now I'm working on getting my foot back to, like, a running shape. And my goal is I want to beat my mile time.
Okay.
I ran a 5-minute, 29-second mile in high school as a sophomore.
Have you ever gone anywhere in 5 minutes? Because I don't know if I have in a long time.
I was wrestling and I did like a 7 something. I thought that was the craziest shit ever.
Yeah, that's
But
no.
yeah, so like my goal is to beat that mile time. I want to see what I can do with my body. But after that, I would love to do some fitness competitions.
Nice.
Like to see how defined I can get and compete in that.
So like a women's bikini?
Yeah.
Or nice.
Yeah. So
Okay.
and not like I was talking to my dad about it, and I don't know everything, but I think so. Bodybuilding is more size,
So
whereas
there's
fitness can be just like definition.
So yeah, so like, kind of like I was talking about earlier, how like for
you
men's,
mentioned that.
yeah. So for men's, there's like men's bodybuilding, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's like, and there's different levels. So I was gonna compete in OCB,
Mm-hmm.
which is like the entry level, like first timers type league, and then you have NPC. And that's kind of like the intermediate to advanced.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got IFBB, which is like Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler. You know who these guys are?
No.
Okay, look up Ronnie Coleman. Good God, this guy. The biggest there has ever been. Like, so it's like these guys like Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, and then him. Yeah, go to that. Yeah, right, that second one. Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's like that guy.
Yeah, no.
So there's that. So that's like men's bodybuilding, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like literally how fucking big can you be?
Yeah.
Look up Ronnie Coleman when he was a cop real quick. It is absolutely fucking hilarious. Yeah, he used to be a cop in Dallas, and that's how he looked. Imagine getting pulled over by that guy.
Oh my God. Yeah.
He was on Joe Rogan. And apparently he would get like called to scenes, and like right when he showed up, the crime would stop.
Oh my God.
The crime, he's like, I always wanted to fight somebody, but no one ever really did anything about it.
Okay, so that's like men's bodybuilding.
Yeah, that's like the IFBB level, International
Okay.
Federation of Bodybuilding.
Okay.
Like that's like where like Arnold started with that. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger started with
Yeah,
that.
okay.
Frank Zane started with that. That's the insanity, right?
Okay.
So then there's like yeah. So then you have Eddie Hall. That's more powerlifting though.
Okay.
Right, that's like the strongman competitions where they move like the giant boulders or they lift like the pole that's attached to a fucking truck.
Okay.
Yeah, they're crazy too. So then like when you go into more like physique type things, that's more natural. That's more like how, like I said, like how aesthetically pleasing are you? Right? How like symmetry's always got to be there with bodybuilding, but it's like how symmetrical is your body? Your legs, like at least for men, I don't know how it is for women, but like I'd imagine there's more emphasis for women. But like for men, the legs aren't as important, but the calves definitely are, and it's just more of like what kind of definition you have.
Yeah.
Like look up real quick OCB.
But yeah, and like, see, because I don't know much about it.
Yeah.
Because again, right now I want to train for running, but like.
And then what's it called? Physique, men's physique. You're
But
saying?
then, yeah, so like in my future, like I definitely want to do that. Because again, like I didn't get to run the past couple years, so lifting is all like what I could do that didn't agitate my foot.
So it's people with that size.
Okay, yeah.
So that's natural. Like, because they drug test and they ensure that you're all natural.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the men's side of it. There is a women.
So like women's physique.
Yeah, look up like the
kinda.
women's OCB. And so that's more of like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
again, like it's not like I was doing anything purposeful. I was just kind of like wanting, to live a lifestyle of fitness, wanting to work out, and so that was just kind of a result of going to the gym a
Because you
lot.
get fucking addicted, right?
Yeah.
And especially when you. So what's your diet like when you're like seriously lifting like that? What do you?
See, I don't know, because I've
Okay.
just been like, I just try to eat healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
We have Blake's Lotaburger like 5 minutes ago. And so that's kind of like why I want to train that at some point. Like I want to do everything. I want to do the diet, the lifting, the kind of like lifestyle, and like not forever. Because as you said, it can be, it's like traumatizing your body.
It's very unhealthy.
So yeah. And so it's something I just want to do for like a year, 2-3-ish years, kind of see what I can do.
It's super fun.
Yeah.
Until it's not.
Yeah.
like until it's not, it's super fun. And like it's just cool. Like I mean, this is kind of like a no shit statement, but like I loved bulking.
Yeah.
Like I loved seeing like how strong can I get.
Yeah.
Like I've never been able to bench 225. That was like a fever dream for me. Just I have a smaller frame, never really been able to pack on weight. And so then when I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to do this. And I started eating like I was eating like 3,800 calories a day with something like 350 grams of protein. And not a lot of fat, but like you're going to get some fat with that, obviously. And it's just a lot of food and a lot of rest too, because you're just breaking the fuck out of your body. But like, yeah, just being able to do really heavy lifts is so much fucking fun. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. It's so much fun. So that's awesome. Well, before we wrap up, I am curious because it's something we brought up beforehand. So what is it like teaching at such a relatively, because whenever you think about teachers, they're anywhere between their late 30s to 50s. But you're in your 20s, so what's that like?
Yeah.
Being able to teach, and then you're teaching high school. So what's that like teaching people that are so close to you in age as, because like, I'd imagine your colleagues, right, your fellow teachers are like in their 30s and 40s, right?
Yeah, 40s, 50s too.
So what's that like?
Honestly, I wish we normalized it more.
Really?
Yeah, because, I don't know, it's pretty awesome. But let's see. I'm going to kind of start off with like my respect policy or philosophy, I guess.
No, for sure.
I mean, you put a 6'4", 40-year-old male in front of a classroom, or you put me in front of the classroom, and you say, hey, we're your teacher, respect me. These kids are going to go,
yeah, right.
No,
it's very much a thing that's earned.
Yeah, kids are not just going to respect you because you're an authority figure.
Nobody is.
Yeah.
But especially kids, because kids are little piss ants. Yeah.
So basically what I tell my students, and I've done this for the past 3 years with my track and my cross country team. I did this when student teaching. I was a substitute for 3 years as well.
Okay.
And so, yeah, my first day of
So what's your
being a
sorry to
teacher.
cut you off. What's your collective experience in teaching now?
Let's see.
Did you do this all through college?
Well, for a year and a half, I was an SI, which means I was like a supplemental instructor, basically like a tutor. But the lady okay, I'm not wording this well. When you're like an SI, you also attend the class, so you know what's going on, so you can be a better tutor. Well, the lady who got me the job, the professor, she was like, I want you to be my SI, but I also want you to teach the class once a week. So I taught college grammar once a week for about a year and a half. I substituted for about a year and a half. So that's a good 3 years of just kind of teaching in front of students. I was the new member educator for Chi Omega. So basically once a week for a whole semester, I taught a class of 20 girls about like Chi Omega history and stuff.
Yes, and so that's your sorority, right?
Sorority, yeah.
Okay.
So for about 3.5 years, I've had experience of being in front of a classroom teaching.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then about 3 years of coaching track and cross country. So before I started teaching, like at the high
Like
school,
formally, teaching.
formally teaching, I've had about 3.5-ish years of experience of just kind of different experiences. But I tell my students, I'm like, I respect you guys right now. I was like, you are my students. And for that, I respect you. I was like, all of you guys are going through different things. I was like, I don't know what your home life is like, but all of you guys have responsibilities at home. You guys are interesting. You guys have your own ideas. And I was like, you all are, you guys are either athletes, you're members of the club. Some of you guys are working. And for that, I respect you. I was like, also, all of us have our own stuff that we're going through. And I was like, I respect you right now. And this is like day one of school. Like, we haven't had a lot of conversations. Like, this is my first talk with them.
Yeah, this is like your introductory. Like, this is who I
Very
am. This is how I
introduction.
operate.
Yeah, and I was
For
like,
sure.
and I was like, I respect you right now in this moment. And because of that, like, I'm going to treat you with respect. I was like, so you don't have to earn my respect. And I was like, I kind of expect that from you guys. Like, you can respect me because, I'm also, man, I'm not wording this very well. I'm a little annoyed with myself.
I totally get what
okay.
you're going for. No, it's good.
But then I tell the students, I was like, but you don't got to like me. I was like, you don't have to like someone to respect them. I was like, think about it. I was like, you ever have that person that, like, for some reason their breathing sets you off and you would just want to punch them so hard? Like, we all have those coworkers or like that person in the friend group that they breathe and you're annoyed. And I was like, but you can still treat them with respect. You don't have to like someone to respect them.
Yeah.
And I was like, so here's the thing. You don't have to earn my respect, but you got to earn my likability.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't like you guys right away.
No, you're a bunch of 14-year-old fucks.
And I'm like, honestly, I'm a people person, so I do like you guys. I was like, pretty much you just have to piss me off and then we're going to be on the offs.
Then there's some problems here, for sure.
Yeah, but like, you guys don't have to like me. I'm not here to make friends, but you can still respect me. And the kids, when they hear like, wow, she doesn't expect us to like her. She doesn't expect us, like, she's giving us respect day one.
Because, like, I feel like with that, not only are other teachers not treating them like adults, and they're not like treating them like. Do I think you should treat a 14-year-old like an adult? Not necessarily, but you should give them a little bit of credit because you don't know who they are.
Yeah.
But I would imagine that at home they're not treated like that,
Yeah.
right? They're treated as like a 5-year-old when they are like. I'm not a parent, right? I'm not going to assume how to parent or raise children, but like that's when they're starting to figure out like, okay, this is who I am. This is what I like. This is what like kind of sets me off. This is like what drives me. This is all those things. So showing them that respect right off the bat, that probably creates a great culture in your classroom.
Yeah, and they probably don't get that a lot from adults.
No, fuck no, they don't.
And so, like, honestly, I don't have a lot of behavioral issues in my classes because of that. Yeah. So being a young teacher, I just think we should normalize it more because, like, I'm as qualified as the other teachers. I mean, obviously some of them have master's degrees, but like I've done the work.
Right.
I just started off
So what was your bachelor's degree in? Like, what did you get that in?
English with a secondary licensure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fuck. Well, that's awesome. So, like, do you ever, like, run into, because, again, you are a younger teacher. Do you ever run into, like, for lack of a better term, a bunch of young, dumb, high school boys?
Yeah. When I was a student teaching, one of the high school boys jokingly asked me to prom.
Jokingly.
Jokingly. And see, here's how I played that out. I was like, all right. I was like, if you're being serious, I'm gonna walk you down to the counselor's office, and you're gonna have a talk with the counselor they can explain to you why this is inappropriate.
Yeah, right.
Like if you're literally being serious, you've got some things you need to understand, and the counselor
really
is there.
fast.
Yeah.
About life.
And I was like, but if you're joking.
Haha.
No, I was like, if you're joking, I was like, I feel a little disrespected. Like, what did I do to lose your respect, and why would you treat me like that? Mm-hmm. And then they go, oh, crap.
So what did they say?
He was like, oh, man, I was just kidding, miss. I'm sorry.
No. How do they approach asking you this?
Oh, I mean, I'm talking with my students at the beginning of the class. They're like, oh, miss, how are you? I'm like, oh, good. And they're like, hey, would you go to prom with me? And I was like, no.
Oh, shit.
Like, are you really asking
Not that there was
me
ever
that?
a situation to call for that, but it was just out of nowhere.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, kid, you're like 5.
Yeah. Jesus.
But again, when you call them out on their bullshit, when you're like, especially when I say, what did I do to lose your respect?
Yeah.
And when they realize, oh crap, what I did was actually disrespectful.
Because when you start having an adult conversation, they're like,
yeah, and it's kind of like, I joke with my students. I'm totally about having like a jokester like life. Like I'm not gonna.
That's not like.
But like when it's like you've crossed a line, like you need to learn you've crossed the line. So when you enter adulthood, you know what lines to and not to cross. You understand
and
boundaries.
what that line actually
and
means.
Like that's what being a teacher is. I got to teach them not only English but like life skills and boundaries. And
See,
stuff
I
like
feel
that.
like that's a huge thing that needs to be promoted for sure.
Yeah.
In schools today, so that's awesome. I lied. One more thing before we head out. So because we were talking about it a little earlier, and I just honestly just want to commend you and like say this in this platform. I think it's awesome that you handled it this way. There was a student in your classes that had gotten caught smoking marijuana, and the way you just talked to him about it, and you're like, "Hey, man, like, look, we don't know what's going on with you, and not that like you've committed you went and killed somebody, but like." If this continues, this is what it leads to.
Yeah. So, guys, what Noah's talking about was one of my athletes a couple years ago got caught smoking pot, and the head coach told me and was like, you need to discipline him. Like, he's one of your distance runners. Like, we're taking action, but I thought you should know. The parents know, the principal knows, everybody knows. And, like, he got suspended. He got grounded from his parents. Like all of the actions that kind of needed to be taken were taken. Basically.
The dude's getting kind of fucked up right now. So what level is he again? Like what age?
He was a sophomore.
It's a sophomore in high school. Okay.
And so basically, like I pulled him aside and I was like, "We need to talk about what happened last week." And he's like, "Ugh," like he got it. He's like, "Yeah, I know. We need to talk."
Right. Yeah.
And he's expecting me to yell at him because that's all that's happened. He's had his parents, his teachers, the principal, the head coach, all yell at him.
Everyone's on his ass right now, for sure.
And so basically I sat down and I was like, how's life going? Are you okay? And he's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, you're doing something, you're resorting to a substance at a really young age. Is there a reason for it? And he's still kind of confused. He's like, no. And I'm like, he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, do you feel safe at home? Like, do you have a lot of responsibilities at your house? Like, are you working another job? Like, because I had some athletes who had to quit because they had to work a job to help their parents pay rent.
Right.
And so I'm asking him, like, do you have those kind of responsibilities? Are you in a bad relationship? And he's like, no, miss, actually, like, life's going really well. And I was like, oh, okay. So then, like, why'd you resort to this?
Right, like, what's up?
And he's like, oh, it's just something fun to do, And I was like, okay. And so we kind of were talking about it because I just wanted to understand, like, if you're resorting to this as like a 14, 15-year-old, either something's going wrong or you're just trying out something new. And then I talked to him and I was like, look, I'm going to be straight up. Like, doing it once or twice, it's not going to kill you. Right?
Yeah.
And because kind of parents nowadays are like, the second you do something remotely wrong, they're just going to yell at you like it's the end of the world. And I was like, look.
Well, it's very confusing, too, now, especially with the topic of marijuana, because of how many states are legalizing
and
it.
He brought that up,
how
too,
many states are using it for medicine, and you can go into, like, the evolution of CBD and, like, how that's helping people. And so, yeah, that's got to be super confusing for a 14-year-old right now.
I mean, he even brought that up. He's like, but like it's legal in Colorado. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, here, let's talk about it. I was like, you're not just a student, you're an athlete.
Yeah.
I was like, you are a phenomenal runner. I know your goals. I know what you want to accomplish. And I was like, you know, if you smoke once or twice, it's not going to kill you. It's not going to affect you that much. I was like, but if you turn this into a habit, we know scientifically this is going to make you more lazy. You're going to lose.
You're planting the seed now.
Yeah, and you're going to lose this motivation, this drive that you need as an athlete to accomplish the great things you want to accomplish. And I was like, think about it. Like, what do you want your life to look like in the next 2-3 years? Like, as a senior, do you want to be qualifying for state? Or do you want to be skipping practice, smoking
pot behind the
failing
bleachers.
your classes?
Right.
Yeah, and I was like, because with his parents yelling at him, don't do this, he's probably going to be like, okay, well, you're not giving me any reason not to do this. You're just telling me to not do it.
Because you're some sort of authority figure.
Yeah, you're not
Right.
telling me why I shouldn't. You're not telling me the consequences. You're not telling me, like, the choices I have to make. Because I told him, I was like, you can keep doing this if you want. But if you want to qualify for state, this is going to prevent you from doing that.
Not the way you're going to be going about it.
Yeah, and so I was like, what do you want to do? Do you want to keep doing this to have fun and, like, have fun with your friends and do this with, like, the girl that you're seeing? Or do you want to qualify for state and do you want to make some life changes? And then, like, a month later, he came up to me and he's like, Coach Kincheloe, like, it's been a month since I've smoked. I've raised my grades and I get to compete in my first track meet since being suspended. Like, I'm so excited. And, like, it was his decision.
Right.
I didn't tell him, don't do this ever again. I was like, you have a decision to make.
You have options here.
And because of that, a month later, he was proud of his decisions because he knew what his decisions were going to lead towards. And they were going to lead towards him allowing him to run, to him raising his grades, to him wanting to qualify and reach the goals that he wanted. And he made that decision. And therefore, he was so much more proud of it because it was his decision, not mine, to stop smoking and stuff like that. So.
Well, I think it's a beautiful note to end this on.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thanks
I had
for
a
having
great
me,
time.
man.
It's
Yeah.
been way too long.
I know. Too long.
David, thank you again for coming by.
Thanks for helping us out.
Working the computer. Thank you guys for watching and listening. And I can't wait to publish this, man. This is awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Have a good one, guys. See ya.